presented by our reporter Yosan, who is in Sudan. Yosan, how is everything over there?
Hi Angie. Things in Sudan today are taking a turn for the worse. The civil war taking place is causing food shortages. They are also experiencing droughts, producing a higher cost in the food supply.
What can you tell us about the food shortages around the world?
An estimated 1 billion people worldwide are currently suffering from hunger. About 75% of the hungry live in rural areas of developing countries, and 25% of them are children. Prices for corn, wheat, and rice reached record highs due in part to increasing demand from developing economies. Rising biofuel production, drought conditions, and higher costs to produce these foods.
Could you describe personal experiences of people facing these issues in Sudan?
The lower class are the people suffering the most in this problem because many of the people live on less than $1 a day. With me, I have Olivia, who is experiencing this food shortage firsthand and is willing to tell us what she does in order to survive. Olivia, how are you today?
I am trying to do the best I can in these hard times. My family and I are not doing so well, but we are fortunate compared to some families that are suffering more than us.
Can you tell us more about your experience with the food shortages?
The food shortages are causing many people to have bad health and become sick. Many do not recover. The food shortage here in Sudan erupted because of civil war. Much of the food we eat here goes off to the soldiers instead of us, so they can keep fighting and stay strong. There is still a lot more going on than the food shortages here.
What can you tell us about these other problems?
We are having problems with diseases such as the swine flu, which is on the rise here and many other places, and many have been infected with HIV and AIDS.
We now have a sponsor from UNAIDS here to tell us some of the things they do. Jolene.
Sponsors educate the public and attempt to prevent furthermore HIV infections. We are also assisting doctors in search for a cure, as well as provide modern treatments.
Back to you, Angelina.
In other parts of the world, there are problems with women's equality. Women have been unable to have education, property rights, or decent jobs. The jobs they are given do not pay as much as the men that have the same job. However, countries like the UN are making strides to better their society in these situations. All the way in the UN, we have Louise to speak on the subject. Louise?
Thank you, Angie. The UN has now decided to take the lead in offering the basic human rights of all people. One of the UN Millennium Development Goals is to promote gender equality and to empower women. Some women have been able to go as far as become leaders for their own country. This declaration is a set of basic human rights and has been agreed by almost every country in the world. It affirms everyone's right to life, liberty, and security of person, and even goes as far as promoting the right to freedom of movement and the freedom of opinion and expression. However, human rights violations still occur worldwide. Mary, you can give us more information of how human rights are currently going.
Governments often carry on the violence. Dictators and military regimes punish people who disagree with their views. In other countries, ethnic, religious, and racial hatreds have led to mass murder of hundreds of thousands of people. In the Western world, the gap that once separated men and women has been getting smaller. More women are joining the workforce and make up half of the university graduates. Many countries have laws that require equal pay for women and men doing the same work, and some laws prohibit promotions based on gender.
Thanks, Mary. Now back to you, Angelina.
Thanks, Louise. The global age distribution is shifting toward older people because of increases in life expectancies, lower birth rates, and lower death rates. There are several reasons people migrate. Persecution for political reasons and brutal civil wars in Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and Europe has led millions of refugees to look for safety in neighboring countries. Many have migrated for economic reasons. For example, guest workers from Turkey, India, Pakistan, and North Africa entered more prosperous European countries. However, foreign workers often become scapegoats when countries face economic reasons. Political parties in France and Norway in the 1990s, for example, called for the removal of blacks and Arabs to protect the ethnic purity of their nations. Connected to population growth is the problem of global migrations. In 2010, there are about 214 million international migrants. Here is Yosan to speak more about the subject.
I couldn't have said it better, Angie. In fact, the Population Reference Bureau estimates that the global population could even reach 9.4 billion by the year 2050, meaning the world population is expected to increase nearly one-third over the coming 40 years. Currently, China and India are the two most populous countries. However, by 2050, India will have well surpassed China in population. At the same time, Western countries and wealthy regions are declining in population. In fact, the U.S. is expected to be the only wealthy nation growing in population by 2050. As you previously said, migration is the problem for global population growth. Here is Rosa from Immigration Services to tell us more about the situation. Rosa, what are the reasons as to why people migrate?
Well, there are several reasons people migrate. One would be persecuted for political reasons and brutal civil wars, such as the ones occurring in Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. Others have migrated for economic reasons, such as guest workers from Turkey. India, Pakistan, and North Africa have entered more prosperous European countries. However, this has caused many foreigners to turn into scapegoats. Almost all population growth is from the developing nations. The countries with the greatest population have taken steps to decrease growth. China has a one-child policy which states that a family can only consist of one child to lower the population. And India promotes a national family welfare program that has led limited success. By 2050, India will have surpassed China in population and will likely remain the most populous country in the world thereafter.
Hi, and welcome back to AYO News Channel. Today we have a developing story on transitional organizations. Transitional organizations are organizations competing on an international basis. They face choices in terms of resource allocation, the balancing. Hi, and welcome back to AYO News Channel. Today we have a developing story on a transitional organization. Transitional organizations are organizations competing on an international basis. They face choices in terms of resource allocation, the balance of authority between the central office and business units, and the degree to which products and services are customized in order to accommodate tastes and preferences of local markets. Here to talk more about this is Stanley.
Hi, thanks for having me. Another movement that addresses world problems is the growth of non-governmental organizations. Non-governmental organizations, also called NGOs, are often represented at the United Nations. They include professional businesses and cooperative organizations, as well as foundations. Also included are religions, peace, and disarmament groups that work to limit the size of military forces and weapon stocks. Other NGOs protect the welfare of women and children and include environmental and human rights groups.
Can you tell us more about Alice Boulding?
Yes, Elise Boulding is an American educator who promoted NGOs. She believed they can educate people to consider problems globally. She said that all NGOs are expected to define problems in global terms, to take account of human interests and needs as they are found in all parts of the planet. The number of international NGOs increased from 176 in 1910 to nearly 37,000 in 2000.
Thank you, Stanley. Here are some pictures from our breaking news and developing stories. Thank you for joining us on AYO News and have a great rest of your day.